Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. Today we've got another book review for you. We've got Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. This came out in 2022, I believe. This book is, I wouldn't say a prequel to, the sequel movies, but it does have a lot of build up and development for a lot of plot points, especially for Rise of the Skywalker, the ninth movie. So, it's not necessarily a direct prequel, but it's supposed to help give a lot of extra details surrounding it. So if you enjoyed that movie or didn't and you wanted more details surrounding it, this is, I think, in general, a good book to read. Outside of that, is this a good book to read? I'll kind of break it down for you. I'll give you my thoughts and then Athens' thoughts, and then we'll give you our overall review. In general, I thought there were some really cool parts about this. I think the first couple chapters of this book were really good, right? With Luke and the Jedi Temple and Ben, and then the visions of Anakin. All that stuff was really, really good. That was fun. That was like going back and reading some of the Legends stuff. That was really good. Moving past that, I felt like Luke's story wasn't that developed well. I thought it kind of just seemed like a side quest, and all the stuff that we were really interested in didn't matter, right? The stuff we wanted to know more about or read more about, it didn't really matter because now he was doing a different side quest for a movie that no one liked. And I hate to be so blunt, but that's just the way I felt reading it. And I know a lot of Star Wars fans in general feel the same way about the ninth movie. I think that's kind of how you're going to feel about this. There are some good parts with Luke. The main antagonist, Ochi of Bastoon, he's a character. He's nothing important. He's fun. It's just like an antagonist of a novel. He's nothing cool. Doesn't have any of these cool things. Some of the points that could be really cool, like the mask, right? You think maybe it could be the mask of Darth Nihilus, right? If you know any of the deep legends of Darth Nihilus is pretty much a Sith, right? But his soul is captured in the mask, right? So when you look at Darth Nihilus and it's that white, almost like ghost face mask, that's it. There is nothing else to him, right? So you think, oh, this guy's being guided by some Sith soul or something that's, beyond him, and this mask has something to do with it. Maybe it's Darth Nihilus, or maybe it's a relic of that sort. No. And I think that's a huge letdown. Instead, they just kind of do something original, which I get. That's not always a bad thing. But when you have that much potential already built in, I think you can just use it, and people will be excited. Plus, I don't necessarily know. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments. I don't know if Darth Nihilus has been railed back into the main canon. I think he's one of those characters from the Old Republic games that has just stayed on the outside. That's kind of referred to as loose canon, right? He could be a part of the canon, but he's not really. I think this would have been a great way to kind of side him back into it, but they didn't use that. Lando, I felt like Lando was shoehorned for what probably was a Han Solo part, right? I've read a lot of Legends stuff. I've read quite a few Star Wars novels in general, and sometimes I forgot I was reading Lando, right? Sometimes it just felt like it was Han Solo. It really did. The only thing that really kept it to being Lando was Lando searching for his daughter, right? And then you're like, okay, well, we know Han Solo doesn't have a daughter in the main canon universe. But besides that, the characteristics, just the decision making, the relationship, it was very similar to a Han Solo. So in general, I enjoyed the book, but that's the main breakdown I have.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good book overall. Nothing really negative to say about it, but there was nothing really that got me. I got some good build up to some things that would have made me excited, and then it's oh, that's it. They made little spoiler alerts, nothing major, but they made droids with Kyber built into them to go seek out this Wayfinder, and I thought that was a really cool aspect, kind of the Death Star of directing Kyber to do some technological thing, which is it's a cool idea in my opinion, and I thought that was awesome. And then they're just not important anymore. It does do a lot of build up for Exegol, which in this sequel trilogy doesn't seem like it's hardly a big deal until the last movie, or hardly mentioned until the last movie at all, if I'm not mistaken. And it's really a build up to that because Exegol is referenced a million times in this book. They're trying to find it. The antagonist is, so they're going down that path. But it's a cool. book. The main things that I really liked about it was Luke at the school with Ben Solo at his Jedi training academy, which there's only brief encounters there. And then I also thought it was a really cool backstory of Rey, because we know that her parents left her to protect her, but we didn't really know the extenuating circumstances. We knew that the blade was involved that you see in the 9th movie, but it's not extremely specific, I think, and I thought this was a really cool way to put it out there, because it is actually a lot more of an interesting story than I thought. It's not just, oh, parents left, wanted money, sold their kid. It's a lot different than that, and it's a lot bigger than that, and a lot more important than that.
Athen makes a point about the Rey and her. It's mostly about her father, because her father is like a failed clone of Sidious. While I appreciate it and it's not bad writing, it does make me more frustrated with the sequels, because it feels like it's shoehorned in this novel and in other cases outside stories from the sequels that should have been in those movies to give that character more development. But instead it's thrown into this book that came out 3 years after that no one really read. Right? This book isn't like one of the top sellers. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this book. I'm one of the few people I know that in my Star Wars community that have actually read this book, right, in general. So I feel like it's just shoehorned in, and it just gets me a little more frustrated. Is it a bad detail to have that they had parts of the key to find Exegol? No, that's kind of cool, I guess. And like the whole escape and trying to hide Rey, in general, that's cool, right? And how Luke was pretty much trying to look for Rey, essentially, right? I mean, he wasn't necessarily, but like, if he had found them much earlier on in the story, he would have interacted with Rey, right? And so it's cool to think about, but again, the fact that it's shoehorned into this story, I just feel like it just gets me more frustrated about the sequels in general. Did I enjoy this book? Yeah, there wasn't anything that overtly frustrated me. I felt like it was too little too late for the sequels, and I felt like they were trying to like, oh, this is what we initially intended and wanted for our story, let's put it in this novel. And I'm like, I feel like you could have done this in your movies earlier on. So did I enjoy the story? Yeah, sure. I think in general I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. If you enjoyed the sequels at all, you'd probably enjoy this book. All right. If you're a huge Luke Skywalker fanboy, I think you'll enjoy this, right? But if you really had frustration with the sequel trilogy, you might not enjoy this. It might just make you more frustrated, to be honest. Or it might give you a little bit more extra background detail and build up that maybe would give you a bit more peace at heart with the sequels.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. It was a pretty good read overall, but really, if a lot of the information from this book was in episodes 7 and 8, I don't feel like the sequel trilogy would be hated as much. And I know that's a hot take to have, but part of the reason I think a lot of people didn't like episode 9 is because it seems like it came out of left field. Like, wait, this is happening? What? How did all these things come to be? But this is a huge lead up in a book, which a lot of Star Wars fans don't read books, and after the fact. I mean, there's a lot of context in here that would have done well to be put in episodes 7 and 8, hinted at a little bit. It just makes me feel like, well, if this was their plan, why didn't they put it in there? Because it made episode 9 feel like it was just written last second, which, whole nother can of worms, but 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I'm not saying no one read this book and it's not worth reading or anything like that. It's fine. I'm just saying in general, compared to like Lord of the Sith, that book's relatively new, came out like the last 5 years, maybe even a little bit further than that. But I know lots of Star Wars fans love that book, right? So that's just one instance of a book that's come out in the last decade from the new Disney era that people love. Or the book Brotherhood, which came out the same year, I believe, in 2022, maybe 2023. In general, a lot of fans had hype for that, right? Like, so I'm not saying no fans read Star Wars books, but I'm just saying in general, this was one of the lesser hyped Star Wars novels that came out, and it kind of shows. So with all that being said, let us know what you guys think down in the comments, if you guys agree or disagree with our review. If you guys have read the book, what you thought of it. Yeah, and with that, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you guys are listening on podcast, don't forget to hit that follow and download, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.